Welcome to Growing Younger podcast, where we guide you through your journey of reaching your fitness goals after 40.
Why getting up off the floor is so critical for your future after the age of 50. Hi guys, this is Alex Blazewski here, the physiotherapist from Growing Younger. And in today's podcast, we're going to talk about the importance of being able to get yourself down on the floor and being able to get up off the floor, and how it can determine your aging and your ability to stay independent and functional for many decades to come as you get older. So I'll set the scene. A few years ago, there was a large famous study done. It's called the Brazilian sitting rising test study. And basically, they took a bunch of people between the ages of 51 and 80, and they scored them on their ability to get down on the floor and get up off the floor. So they scored them out of 10. So 0 being, they needed a lot of help. They were quite wobbly and lacked sort of good balance. And 10 was someone who actually did it really well, pretty much did it really quick without needing to kneel or use their hands. So what they actually did is they followed these people up for 12 years now, okay? Because there was a recent update in 2025, and this is the latest results from this study. So after following these people up for 12 years, they've basically tried to track how well these people performed and their health status, but most importantly, how many of them actually died in that time. And what they actually found is that those people who scored the lowest, so basically those people who needed a lot of help getting up off the floor, their risk of dying was higher by 3.8 times for any natural cause. So risk of dying for any natural cause was 3.8 times higher than those people who did the test really well. So almost 4 times these people were more likely to die in those 12 years than those people who were able to get up off the floor without needing any help. Now, specifically for cardiovascular related death, this figure was even higher. So those people who struggled to get up off the floor, they were 6 times more likely to die because of cardiovascular problems if they struggle to get up off the floor compared to those people who were able to do it pretty well. Okay, so I guess the conclusion of the study was that not only being able to get yourself up is important for your independence and function, but it literally affects your longevity. It affects how long you live. Okay, so it's pretty striking, and this is obviously proven beyond pretty much doubt that your ability to get down on the floor and get up on the floor will affect your lifespan, essentially. And look, getting up and down and up off the floor is something that comes up in conversations in our fitness studio. So a lot of people over 50, but specifically or more kind of over 60, that is something that comes up in conversations a lot. It does limit people in their ability to function, to do their house chores, to even do the sort of basic self-care. But not only does it make your life difficult, but also it basically, puts you at risk of dying early. Okay, so here's one part of today's discussion. Now, the second thing I wanted to mention as well is that falls are the leading cause of injury-related death in adults over 65. And so your ability to get down on the floor and get up off the floor safely clearly would affect your risk of falling as well. So not only your ability to get up and get down and up off the floor will affect your risk of dying because of natural causes, but also it puts you at higher risk of injury related death as well. So on multiple fronts, you can kind of see that one little skill can actually affect your longevity, health, well-being, independence on so many different levels. Now, here's one more thing that kind of compounds the risk of falling, is that the fear of falling itself speeds up the decline. So when people start to realize, okay, I'm actually starting to lose my balance, I'm not so steady on my feet, they actually start to move less. They start to, they basically start taking extra care. They kind of, well, what I'm trying to say is, I mean, obviously taking extra care is a good thing, but because they are so cautious, they move less. They don't perform certain movements that normal, like younger people would actually do. And because of that, it actually accelerates their decline, and they so lose more muscle strength quicker. Their sense of balance declines faster as well. And therefore, that in itself puts them at higher risk of falling and hurting themselves too. So it sort of puts them in a bit of a downward spiral, where the fear of they might have one fall, then they all of a sudden, and this is something that I've seen in my physio practice as well, is that a person who's maybe over 65 had one fall, and all of a sudden now they're petrified. They're so afraid of falling again that they don't like going outside. They don't like climbing stairs. That's kind of fear avoidance behavior that they develop. It actually puts them at higher risk of sustaining further falls in the future, which again, like I said, unfortunately, it's a downward spiral. So essentially on one side, you definitely want to be more careful, but at the same time, being more careful doesn't mean that you should be slowing down and avoiding physical activity. Now, let's just quickly talk about why is getting down and up off the floor is so paramount to our overall health and fitness and longevity. So that movement, when you raise your body off the floor, it's a very compound movement. So it involves a lot of different components. So you need leg power, you need flexibility and mobility, particularly around the hip area. You need core strength. So you need good sort of control of your back and stomach muscles in order to get yourself up into a vertical position. You also need some confidence, because if you're lacking confidence, it will affect how you move and your ability to time all the movements precisely in order to be able to do it safely. So your ability to get up off the floor, it's rather than sort of disappearing in a short amount of time, it starts to decline gradually. So it is something that people just go, I feel like I'm a bit slower, and another couple of years go by, and then suddenly they go, okay, well, now I actually always need to use my arms, and another few years, and suddenly they need to hold on to furniture for support to get themselves up. So it is a gradual process, and if you're starting to notice that it takes you longer to get up off the floor, if you're starting to notice that you maybe need a bit of extra help, you need to lean on something in order to get yourself up, that is definitely a bit of a red flag. It should make you aware that you should be doing something about it. And yes, you can do something about it. You can actually reverse a lot of these changes. So I'll just give you a few practical tips that you can try if you do start to notice that your ability to get up off the floor is starting to become affected. There's a few things you can do at home that will help you improve it. Okay. Now, so number one, even if you don't really have to get down on the floor and off the floor, just practice it anyway. Like, just do it as an exercise. Maybe a couple of times a day. Just get down on the floor and get up off the floor and just score yourself. Like, just see how well you do. If you are really frail and if you doubt whether you'll be able to get up off the floor by yourself, make sure for safety that you have someone standing close to you to help you if you need that help. So maybe a family member who's going to help you up if you need help. So just practicing that movement of getting yourself up off the floor is an exercise in itself, and it will help to make your legs stronger. Okay, so treat it as an exercise. Now, on top of that, you could also work on strengthening your legs. And not only strengthening the legs, but also working on the power. The difference between strength and power in your muscles, power involves speed. So power is basically strength multiplied by how fast can you do it, okay? And when it comes to getting yourself up off the floor, but also when it comes to fall prevention as well, having the power, particularly in your legs, is super important, because let's say when you're walking, if you step into a pothole, you need to, your body needs to correct itself. And that correction comes from power, because you need to do it fast. You need to react to that sudden change in your positioning by putting your leg out and putting some weight on it in such a way that it actually corrects your body positioning. So that involves speed and involves power. So basically, you need to do some form of exercise to help you work both on strength and power. So one of the exercises that I recommend to most of my patients for that is sit to stand. Okay, so you sit in the chair and you get up off the chair. If you can manage to do it without using your hands, that's great. If you have to use your hands, that's okay as well. But also try to add a little bit of speed. So get up off the floor a bit quicker if you can. Okay. So that involves that adding a bit of speed will actually help to improve your power as well. Another exercise that would help to work on your ability to get up off the floor is just standing on one leg, so like a balance hold. Okay, so try to attach it to one of the daily activities that you do, so you don't forget to do it. So, for example, when you're brushing your teeth, you're standing on one leg, say for 20 seconds, then you stand on the other leg for 20 seconds. So let's say if you brush your upper teeth, you stand on one leg, on the left leg, and when you brush your lower teeth, you stand on your right leg, okay? And so it gives you about 20 seconds, 30 seconds each leg, and it helps to improve your sense of balance. Obviously, do it only if you feel safe. If your balance is affected to the point where you become very wobbly and you fall down, then you can do another type of balance exercise that is safer for you. Another one that you could practice today is step-ups. So if you can manage a step-up safely, do it on stairs. You can, if you have a proper fitness step, you can do it on that. So step-ups is a great way to strengthen your quads, your glutes. All these muscles are important to be able to get yourself up from a lying position, to get yourself up off the floor. So step-ups is a great way to train yourself to do it. And my final piece of advice is that people who are a bit older, and particularly those people who are struggling to with their balance, struggling to get themselves up into a standing position, the advice is quite often, okay, you have to be very careful. You gotta hold yourself back. You've gotta take it easy, right? And even though absolutely you have to be careful, if you are prone to falling, you do have to be careful. But at the same time, it doesn't mean you have to scale back all the physical activities you do. Because if you become really sedentary, you actually lose muscle strength, and that puts you at even higher risk of falling and sustaining bad injuries. And as you can see, if your ability to get up off the floor suffers, then you actually run a higher risk of dying from natural causes as well. So what I'm trying to say is that you should maintain some form of exercise, some form of strengthening, in order for you to preserve that ability to get down on the floor and up off the floor. If you can do it safely, do this as a test today. Get down on the floor, see if you can get yourself up without holding on to things, without using your arms. Now, as I said, do it safely. If you're not sure, get someone else to do it together with you so they can keep an eye on you. But otherwise, all the best for now, guys, and I'll speak to you on the next podcast.